Stop. Right now. Drop whatever clever excuse you were halfway through making and actually listen. Not with one ear while your mind lines up reasons why this won't work, but with your full attention. What you think in private shapes what you become in public. That's not philosophy. It's biology, it's habit, it's practice. If you want different days, different choices, different outcomes, start by farming your mind. You have been harvesting without planting. That ends today. You don't get to pick the weather of your life, but you do get to pick the clothes you wear in that weather. And those clothes are the patterns of thought you slip into every morning. Right now, your mind is running background programs that you didn't consciously install. They dictate who you notice, which opportunities feel safe, what risks look reasonable, and which people you mirror. You're a walking script. The good news? Scripts are editable. Think of a single thought that has controlled you. Maybe it's, I'm not ready. Maybe it's, I always fail. Maybe it's, that's not for people like me. That thought is quieter than your neighbor's stereo, but it is the boss of dozens of tiny decisions each day. Whether to try, whether to speak up, whether to save or spend. Replace it with a new thought and watch choices change like dominoes. Replace it with action and watch results follow. This is not mystical, it's strategic. Earl Nightingale said, "You become what you think about." He didn't mean wishful thinking, he meant deliberate concentration. When you focus on something repeatedly, you tune the brain to notice the right variables, to filter for solutions, and to allocate effort to what matters. The brain is a pattern-seeking machine. Give it patterns worth mastering. Here's a simple truth you can test tonight. For the next 24 hours, pay attention to your inner voice. Not the loud public script you show to others, the one that whispers the default reasons, the safe retreat. Notice the small judgments. I can't. I'll do it later. They won't like it. Count them. When you find one, breathe and reframe it. Turn I can't into how could I? Turn I'll do it later into when exactly? This tiny habit chips away at unconscious autopilot. Your thoughts are the architects of your emotions, and emotions are the fuel for action. Think about it. Fear shrinks your field of view, narrows options, and speeds you toward retreat. Confidence expands your field, reveals routes, and attracts collaborators. Neither is accidental. They are the direct output of the narratives you run. Change the narrative, and you change the energy that drives your steps. You will meet resistance. Good. Resistance is the tell that you're onto something meaningful. When your brain detects novelty, it protests. It prefers the known cost of staying small to the unknown price of growth. That protest is not truth, it's protection. Name it. Thank it for trying to keep you safe, and move anyway. Every action on behalf of a new thought is a vote cast for the person you want to become. Now, let's be practical. You don't need to sit in silence for hours to rewire your mind. You need repetition and clarity. Choose 3 short beliefs that would change the direction of your next 6 months if you actually lived by them. Keep them sharp and usable. I learn fast under pressure. I ask before assuming. I show up even when afraid. Put them where you'll see them. Say them out loud like assignments, and then do one small action today that proves each belief true. Don't confuse optimism with strategy. Positive fluff doesn't move mountains. Intentional thought does. Napoleon Hill warned against idle wishing. He pushed purposeful planning and faith backed by action. Belief without a plan is a prayer that seldom receives answers. You must pair mental rehearsal with a practical scaffold. Small experiments, measurable steps, and honest feedback. Thoughts set aim, plans provide the path. Let's talk about language, because words are the mortar of thought. How you describe yourself right now, the adjectives, the metaphors, determine your trajectory. I'm a procrastinator is a story that excuses delay. I value deliberate starts is a story that creates space for progress. Swap the labels that trap you for labels that empower you to move. Language changes perception. Perception changes choices. There's power in intentional memory, too. What you focus on, you reinforce. If you dwell on failures, you prime the brain to notice more reasons to fail. If you index moments of progress, however small, you create an archive of competence. Keep a short success log, one line every day of something you did that moved you forward. Over weeks, that little ledger becomes evidence you can't ignore when the inner critic strikes. I want you to understand the difference between thinking and rehearsing. Thinking is a scatter of possibilities. Rehearsing is a targeted simulation. When you rehearse a conversation, a performance, a decision, you reduce friction between intention and execution. Visualization is not daydreaming, it's practice. See the step, feel the posture, hear the words, and then take a micro-action that matches the rehearsal. The mind and body learn fastest when they practice together. You will hear people say, just be positive. Ignore the empty slogan. Positivity without direction is like cheering for a team without knowing the sport. Be selective with your inner cheerleading. Focus on beliefs that directly impact the habits you need. If you want to be more decisive, feed thoughts that support clarity and risk tolerance. If you want better relationships, feed thoughts that assume goodwill until proven otherwise. Intentional thoughts are tactical tools. Now, discipline is not the enemy. It's the muscle that follows thought. Willpower alone fizzles. Willpower organized by environment persists. Make your surroundings pull you toward the person you aim to be. Remove temptations that reinforce old thinking. Add reminders that prime new thinking. Your environment communicates constantly. Design it to be on your team. There will be moments when old thoughts come back loud and familiar. Treat them like weeds. You don't drag the whole plant out at once. You pull the visible part and set up conditions so it doesn't return as easily. Replace a limiting thought with a tangible alternative and back it with a tiny proof. Habit forms when you repeat the new thought action pair until the brain prefers it. Finally, a promise. This work compounds. A single thought change today does not remake you overnight, but repeated over weeks, it quietly rewires priorities, choices, and outcomes. Give it the time it deserves. Measure progress by tiny wins, not dramatic overnight flips. You are not seeking perfection. You are building direction. Right now, make a decision. Within the next 10 minutes, write down one limiting thought you want gone and one specific micro-action that would begin to disprove it. That's a test you can run today. If you do it, you have begun the practice of becoming. If you don't, nothing has changed. In the next part, we will move deeper into how your subconscious backs the stories you tell, how to intercept the scripts before they direct your day, and how to turn intention into unstoppable momentum. For now, start tending your mind. Plant deliberately, rehearse fiercely, and act consistently. Part 2. Your subconscious is not a mystery house. It's a workshop that runs night shifts. It quietly stores rehearsals, habits, biases, and the tiny rituals that steer your life while your conscious mind is busy scrolling or planning. If you want to reshape your life, you must learn to enter that workshop and change the blueprints it uses. That's what we do now. We go from noticing to intervening. First, understand how the subconscious learns. It doesn't argue with logic, it learns by repetition and emotion. When you repeat a thought and pair it with feeling or action, neural pathways strengthen. That's Hebbian learning in action. Cells that fire together, wire together. So your job is not to shout louder at your conscious mind. It's to create repeated, meaningful experiences that the subconscious can't ignore. Tiny, consistent changes beat giant, rare efforts. Start with the daily inventory. For the next 3 days, take 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before bed to listen to your inner dialogue. Don't judge it, catalog it. Write down the recurring phrases that show up uninvited. Not good enough, too late, they're better, I'll mess it up. Seeing the script on paper removes its magic. Once exposed, the script becomes editable. Now apply the arrest and replace technique. When an old limiting thought appears, say stop, out loud or in your head, literally interrupt it. Then immediately state a counter thought you've prepared, short, specific, believable. For example, swap I always fail with I learn faster with feedback. Do this out loud and follow with a 1-minute action that proves the new thought. Send a question, record a 30-second practice clip, open a document. The subconscious trusts proof more than promises. Use micro-rituals to anchor new beliefs. Rituals are signals the subconscious responds to. Pick a 60-second pattern. Stand, breathe 3 times, say a 2-line affirmation, and take 1 small action. Do it first thing after waking, and again before starting deep work. Consistency is the currency of change. 10 minutes across 10 days compounds into a new default. Leverage the power of environmental cues. Your mind is cue reactive. It notices a table, a text tone, a chair, and runs the scripts associated with them. If you want to be decisive, create a visible prompt that nudges you toward decisive behavior. A sticky note that asks, "What's the smallest next step?" on your monitor. A recorded voice note you play before calls. A folder labeled "Start" on your desktop. Design your space to interrupt old reflexes and invite new ones. Be ruthless about language, because words are the raw material your subconscious uses to label experience. Replace vague assignments with specific verbs. Instead of, "I'll try to be more confident," say, "Today I will speak up at least once in the meeting." Replace, "I'm not creative," with, "I will sketch one idea now." Specificity gives your subconscious a task it can evaluate and repeat. Practice mental contrasting. This technique helps you pair aspiration with obstacle mapping. Imagine your desired outcome vividly, the sights, the sounds, the feeling, for 60 seconds. Then spend 60 seconds naming the most likely internal obstacle: fear, doubt, a thought pattern. Now write one tiny strategy to overcome that obstacle. Mental contrasting creates a bridge from desire to realistic action. It primes the subconscious for targeted problem solving instead of wishful wandering. Use implementation intentions, the if-then device, to convert thought into automatic action. Example, if I notice the thought, "I can't," then I will take 3 deep breaths and type 1 sentence toward the goal. These small conditional plans take advantage of the brain's affinity for triggers. When X happens, do Y. Over time, the then becomes reflexive. Sleep is your secret ally. The subconscious does heavy lifting during rest, consolidating learning and emotion. Before bed, rehearse one micro skill for 5 minutes. Imagine the desired action, see it through, and then let it go. The brain will replay and bake the rehearsal into memory. That's why athletes visualize before sleep. It's practice without physical strain. Use it as your quiet training ground. Don't ignore emotion. It's the accelerator for subconscious learning. When you attach a strong emotion to a new thought, the brain prioritizes it. That doesn't mean chasing mood swings. It means amplifying positive signals. Celebrate micro wins loud enough that your nervous system registers the outcome as desirable. A 2-minute victory ritual, a fist pump, a short note in your success log, a text to someone who cares, tags the action with reward. Now let's talk about inner dialogue as strategy, not drama. The voice inside you tends to repeat roles: critic, helper, reporter, coach. Most people live mainly with a critic at the wheel. Teach your coach to speak louder. Ask 3 simple questions when you catch that inner voice. Is this true? Is this helpful?
And what would a more resourceful version of me say? Answer those quickly and with curiosity, then act on the reply. Curiosity collapses the energy of fear. Action converts it into information. Record your new scripts. Say your targeted beliefs into your phone and play them back during commute or while exercising. Hearing your voice repeat a new frame embeds it more quickly than silently reading a sentence. Your ears are underused gateways to the subconscious. Use them. Bring in accountability that matters. The subconscious is lazy when left unchecked. It will return to old grooves. Share your micro-actions with someone who will care and check in. Better yet, form a tiny accountability pact. 2 people, 2 short commitments, 1 weekly update. Social signals accelerate habit formation because the brain values reputation and belonging. Study your feedback ruthlessly. The subconscious doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to consequences. Run short experiments. Change one thought pattern and measure the behavior it produces. If the new thought doesn't change action in a week, modify the thought or pair it with a stronger supporting action. Iterate fast. Napoleon Hill taught that faith must be backed with persistence and plan. Don't sentimentalize belief, test it. Use the prove it method to starve doubt. Every time you tell yourself a limiting story, immediately schedule a tiny, verifiable test that could disprove it. If you think, I'm not persuasive, find one short conversation today where your aim is to ask one precise question and observe the response. Collect data. Over time, a dossier of disconfirmations will dismantle the old narrative faster than arguing ever could. And remember, the subconscious is stubborn because it's been functional. Old scripts often protected you. Social survival, avoiding embarrassment, conserving resources. Rewiring requires empathy for those old parts. Thank the protective voice. Then build a new team of internal supporters. A calm coach who gives instructions, a pragmatic reporter who collects data, and a small, relentless doer who executes micro-actions. Finish today with a compact plan. Choose one limiting thought to remove, one short counterstatement to install, and one micro-action that proves the counterstatement within 48 hours. Write them down, record them, and commit to the 2-minute daily ritual that repeats them. That's all the workshop needs to begin retooling itself. You're in the middle of a skilled, slow craft. The subconscious will not flip overnight, but it will bend. Your responsibility is steady pressure, clear signals, and constant tiny proofs. Keep the tools sharp, repeat the experiments, and stay honest with your feedback. The person you're becoming is a product of the scripts you rehearse when no one is watching. So rehearse like your future depends on it, because it does.
Part 3. Now we enter the battlefield where most people quit without realizing it. Confronting negative thoughts and dismantling limiting beliefs. You've seen them sneak in. I can't, I'm not ready, it's too late, they're better than me. Every single one of these is a mental leash keeping you from stepping into the arena where growth happens. And here's the truth. They only have power because you let them. You've been trained to obey, but obedience ends the moment you decide to challenge the command. The first step is recognition. Start paying attention to your autopilot. Notice the instant judgments, the default retreats, the inner commentary that shrinks your possibilities. Call it out. Name it. That's a fear thought. That's a comparison thought. Labeling neutralizes their authority. The second step is interrogation. Is this thought true? Is it helpful? Does it serve my goal? Challenge the validity. Most negative beliefs are untested assumptions or outdated rules your mind never re-examined. Here's the part most people miss. Replacement. Suppression doesn't work. Pushing away a thought is like shoving a beach ball underwater. It pops back up, bigger and louder. You must replace it with a constructive, actionable alternative. Every I can't becomes what's one small step I can take right now.
Every "I'll never be ready" becomes "I will start with what I have today." This is not fluff. It is tactical reframing that rewires thought patterns. Napoleon Hill insisted on clarity of purpose because unclear thinking always results in drift. Replace drift with direction. Next, we use the power of evidence. The brain does not blindly believe new ideas. It trusts proof. So don't just tell yourself, "I am capable." Prove it. Micro actions are your battlefield tests. Speak up once in a meeting. Send that email. Try a new approach with a colleague. Each tiny success is a deposit in your subconscious bank. Over weeks, your mind stops debating. It recognizes the reality: you are competent, capable, and growing. Now consider the effect of the self-fulfilling prophecy. Thoughts create expectations, expectations shape behavior, behavior produces outcomes, and outcomes validate the original thoughts. It's a loop, and you control the first link. Replace negative expectations with proactive, constructive ones. Dare to assume competence, to assume agency, to assume action. Then watch how subtly the world starts reflecting the new mindset back to you. Let's not ignore emotional undercurrents. Thoughts are rarely pure. They carry feelings that accelerate the impact. Anger, fear, or anxiety strengthen the hold of limiting beliefs. Curiosity, courage, and focused determination strengthen the new narrative. Pair every replacement thought with a strong, precise emotion, not vague hope, but deliberate energy that motivates action. Dale Carnegie wrote about enthusiasm, not the fleeting buzz, but the deliberate, contagious energy that drives persuasion and action. That's your emotional fuel. Visualization is more than mental imagery. It's rehearsal with intent. Picture yourself navigating the scenario your limiting thought usually sabotages. Imagine the steps, the obstacles, the reactions, the emotions, and most importantly, your confident responses. Then execute a micro action in real life that mirrors the rehearsal. The subconscious learns fastest through repetition and alignment of mental and physical rehearsal. Seeing the path and walking it repeatedly is how belief turns into competence. Keep a mental ledger of disproof. Every time you succeed against an old limiting thought, record it. Keep track of the moments when you overcame doubt, fear, hesitation. Review it daily. Over time, your subconscious builds a dossier that contradicts the old limiting beliefs, a relentless archive proving you are not who you used to think you were. This is feedback you can trust. Data always trumps narrative. Don't underestimate language. The words you speak to yourself and out loud anchor new identities. Swap "I'm weak" for "I'm learning." Swap "I always fail" for "I am experimenting and discovering what works." Words are building blocks. The more precise and actionable, the faster the foundation solidifies. The subconscious takes them literally. Don't cheat it with vague slogans. Here's a practical exercise. Identify one recurring limiting thought today. Break it down: when, where, how, and why it appears. Then design a micro-intervention. A short phrase that counters it, a small action that proves it wrong, and a simple reward that reinforces the new pathway. Commit to doing this 3 times today. This is tactical rewiring, not wishful thinking. Consistency is the secret. Repetition is the hammer shaping your mental sculpture. Next, leverage the if-then framework to automate the challenge-response sequence. Example: if I feel self-doubt about speaking, then I will take a breath and start with 1 sentence. Automation reduces friction and prevents old thoughts from hijacking decisions. Your mind is lazy by default. You're installing shortcuts that lead to empowerment, not retreat. Remember, confrontation alone is not enough. You must pair recognition and replacement with aligned action. Take deliberate steps in the direction you fear or hesitate. Each micro-success strengthens the new narrative. Each failure is data, not doom. Track both, adjust and repeat. This is how you turn the abstract notion of "I can" into lived reality. Use role modeling as a lever. Study people who achieved what you want. Don't idolize. Analyze. What thoughts, habits, and choices allow them to act when others hesitate? Then imitate deliberately. Imitation accelerates internalization. Earl Nightingale often highlighted that success leaves clues. Your job is to follow them, adapt them, and internalize them until they become second nature. Finally, embrace patience without compromise. Thoughts don't flip like switches. The process is iterative. Expect frustration, test relentlessly, and keep the mental scripts clear. Celebrate micro wins and learn from the ones that feel like losses. This is how you convert belief into behavior and behavior into identity. Every repeated conscious choice reinforces the truth. What you think shapes who you become. By the end of today, decide on one negative thought you will dismantle and one actionable replacement you will rehearse and test. Commit fully, track it, prove it, and tomorrow we'll dive into how to cultivate the mindset of a winner. Deliberate, confident, relentless, and the exact practices that turn intentional thought into unstoppable momentum. Your future is written in the language of your thoughts. Make sure it speaks the truth you choose.
Part 4. You've started noticing, intercepting, and reshaping your thoughts. Now it's time to go further, to build the mental architecture of a winner. This isn't about random bursts of motivation. This is about deliberate construction of a mindset that refuses mediocrity. A mindset that pulls you toward action like gravity. If you're ready to step into that, you must begin to think like the person you want to become, not the person you've been. Winners don't stumble into success. They design it. They see the invisible before it becomes visible. They write the blueprint of their future in their thoughts long before the world notices a single result. That's not luck. It's intentional thinking at work. Napoleon Hill insisted that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, your mind drifts. With it, every thought aligns to a central magnet that pulls your energy into motion. Here's the shift you need. Stop reacting to circumstances and start creating mental conditions that demand new circumstances. You don't wait for confidence to arrive. You generate it through rehearsed thoughts. You don't hope for opportunities. You train your brain to notice and act on them. You don't beg for motivation. You install rituals that make action automatic. The difference is radical. One life runs on accident, the other on design. Let's get tactical. Start each morning with a deliberate thought selection. Don't just wake up and let your phone decide your mental state. Before you scroll, declare 3 thoughts that align with your goal. Short, actionable, present tense. For example, I choose clarity over confusion. I act faster than doubt. I focus on progress, not perfection. Repeat them, write them, anchor them. This is not childish. This is programming. And every great performer, athlete, and entrepreneur uses it. Now, integrate visualization, but with precision. Don't just imagine yourself successful. Imagine the grind, the steps, the emotions, the setbacks, and your responses. Picture the meeting where your hands shake, but you speak anyway. Picture the workout when you're exhausted, but finish anyway. Picture the day when rejection comes and you move forward anyway. This is training for reality, not fantasy. The subconscious rehearses and prepares, so when life delivers the test, you've already passed it in your mind. Layer in emotional fuel. Thoughts without emotion don't stick. Winners know how to generate energy on command. You must pair your chosen thoughts with physical cues. Stand tall, breathe deeply, use your body to match the state you want to feel. Movement triggers chemicals. Chemicals reinforce thoughts. It's a loop you can control. Try it. Declare your new belief while walking fast with energy.
Watch how quickly the thought feels more real than when whispered slouched on a couch. Create anchors. Tie specific thoughts to specific actions. When you put on your shoes in the morning, let that be the trigger for I show up no matter what. When you sit at your desk, let that trigger I focus on one task until it's done. When you see a clock strike the hour, let that trigger one action toward my goal now. These anchors turn abstract thoughts into lived reality, repeated dozens of times per day. Winners understand that setbacks are raw material, not stop signs. Every negative outcome is data, feedback, an opportunity to refine. You must adopt the frame, nothing is wasted. Each mistake proves one method that didn't work and sharpens your next attempt. Dale Carnegie reminded people that fear dissolves when you take action, not when you overthink, not when you prepare endlessly, but when you step forward despite trembling hands. That is the habit you're building, the habit of movement fueled by intentional thought. Practice mental stacking. When you hit a small success, stack it with reinforcement. Write it down, celebrate it, remind yourself deliberately. This multiplies the effect of small wins. Your brain starts expecting success because you've stacked proof upon proof. That expectation then drives new behavior. Momentum is not accidental, it's engineered through stacking and reinforcement. Surround yourself with thought allies. Your environment either amplifies or suffocates your mindset. Seek people, books, content, and spaces that feed the mental architecture you're building. Protect your mental diet with the same seriousness you protect your body. Junk thoughts produce junk outcomes. Don't casually allow cynics and complainers to rent space in your head. Build an environment where thoughts of possibility, resilience, and focus are the norm. Remember, confidence is not an emotion you wait to feel. It's evidence stacked over time. The more you act on your chosen thoughts, the more confidence you bank. Action proves belief. Belief drives more action. That loop is the engine of transformation. Now, let's craft one advanced ritual, the daily mental rehearsal. Set aside 10 minutes at night. Write down tomorrow's biggest challenge. Visualize yourself entering it with clarity and courage. Write the thought you'll need, one sentence, to navigate it. Then mentally rehearse executing with that thought at the wheel. When tomorrow comes, act it out. Review at night. Adjust. Repeat. Over weeks, you become the person who naturally does what others hesitate to even imagine. This is the winner's mindset. Deliberate thought, reinforced emotion, aligned action, constant feedback. You are not merely reacting to life, you are scripting it. You are authoring the identity of someone who creates, leads, and achieves. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is not luck, not talent, not timing. It's thought, chosen and repeated until it becomes inevitable. Tonight, decide one thought that belongs to your future self. Write it, say it, anchor it, act on it tomorrow. That's the seed. Water it daily. Protect it fiercely. Watch it grow into habits, outcomes, identity. This is the architecture of becoming. And in the next part, we'll go deeper into application, how to turn these thoughts into habits, how to maintain them when life punches hard, and how to build a system that keeps your mind strong no matter what storms arrive. You are not merely learning how to think, you are learning how to become.
Part 5. This is where the map meets the road. You've learned to notice thoughts, interrupt scripts, replace beliefs, rehearse, and build a winner's architecture. Now we turn those practices into a system, a reliable engine that keeps your mind strong when life applies pressure, when stress hits, when distractions swarm, and old habits creep back like fog. Systems beat motivation because systems work whether you feel like it or not. Your job now is to build a system around the thoughts you want to live by. Start with sequencing. Thought, cue, action, reward. That's the loop you must automate. Pick one high-leverage belief you want as a default, something that, if true, would change key behaviors in your life. Make it short and concrete. I act first, evaluate later. Or I seek solutions before excuses. Then decide on a clear cue that will trigger that belief into action. It can be something as simple as the sound of your alarm, the opening of your laptop, or the moment you open your messaging app. Link the cue to one tiny, non-negotiable action that proves the belief. Finally, choose a quick reward, a note in your log, a 30-second breath of victory, a check mark on a visible chart. Repeat this loop until it runs without thinking. Design your environment to protect the new pathway. Systems are fragile when your context still favors old habits. Remove friction for the behaviors that support your chosen thought, and add friction for the ones that don't. If scrolling kills clarity, put your phone face down in another room during deep work. If doubt thrives in isolation, create a 1-minute ritual to call or message an accountability partner before high-stakes decisions. Small changes in context shift the path of least resistance. Make that path lead to you becoming who you intend to be. Create micro-habits that compound. Big streaks start with tiny, consistent moves. Want decisiveness? Start with a 2-minute decision practice. Pick one small choice and make it within 60 seconds. Want courage to speak up? Open your mouth for one sentence in a meeting each day. Want creativity? Sketch one imperfect idea for 2 minutes. The point is not the size of the action, it's the repeatability. Momentum prefers the feasible. Stack these micro-habits into routines so the brain stops negotiating and starts executing. Teach yourself to fail forward. The system must include rapid feedback and quick iteration. Every experiment should be short, measurable, and informative. If a new supporting thought doesn't produce behavioral change within a prescribed time, tweak the action, the cue, or the reward. Napoleon Hill taught insistence plus method. Persistence is useless without refinement. Your system has to be adaptable. Treat each setback as data, harvest the lesson, and move. Anchor accountability to credibility. Pick someone whose opinion matters and who will call you to account. Make your commitments public in a small, meaningful circle. Reputation nudges the subconscious. Social signals are potent. When you tell someone, "I will post one short update each morning about my progress," you change the internal calculus. The mind dislikes cognitive dissonance in front of witnesses. It will move to reduce that discomfort by aligning action with declared belief. Protect your energy relentlessly. Thoughts need fuel. Your system should include routines that maintain physical, emotional, and mental energy. Sleep, movement, nutrition, short breaks, and focused decompressing are not optional extras. They are the service layer your mind runs on. When you preserve energy, you preserve the clarity to choose powerful thoughts instead of defaulting to the easiest ones. Use periodic audits. Every week, run a 5-minute check. What thought did you choose to prioritize? Did the cue trigger the action? Did the reward land? What evidence did you collect that the thought is becoming true? Keep a 1-page ledger. This habit keeps your system honest and adaptive. Over months, the ledger becomes a track record you can't deny. Guard the company you keep. Ideas spread like viruses. Surround yourself with people whose default thoughts and actions match the architecture you're building. Not everyone has to be at your level, but your proximity paints your possibilities. If you're building a founder's mentality, relentless curiosity, ownership, speed, immerse yourself in people who practice those defaults. Replace passive consumption with selective input.
Read, listen, and engage with material that elevates your thinking and gives you tactical moves to try. Now, let's talk about pressure testing your system. Life intensifies. That's when systems prove their worth. Simulate stress, set a tight deadline, limit resources, add a small public exposure. Your chosen thought should guide your response automatically. If it doesn't, analyze which part of the loop failed. Cue, action, or reward, and repair it. The aim is to create a system that defaults to productive, courageous responses under strain, not one that crumbles and resorts to old scripts. Keep cultivating curiosity as a habit. Curiosity weakens the critic and strengthens the learner. When a limiting thought appears, ask a question before you decide. What if this could be different? What evidence would I need to change this belief? Questions open airlocks. They let new information in. Earl Nightingale emphasized that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Curiosity keeps your ideal moving forward, not stuck in a stale identity. Integrate rituals for resilience. When setbacks happen, and they will, the ritual recalibrates you. Short practices like a 3-breath reset, a 2-minute walk, or a 90-second gratitude note interrupt spirals and return you to baseline. Rituals are simple tools that reduce the cognitive load of recovery. They keep your system running by minimizing drama and maximizing repair. Remember to celebrate strategically. Small victories are the currency of sustained change. Acknowledge them publicly or privately with rituals that tag them as meaningful. The brain uses reward to prioritize behavior. When you celebrate wisely, you reinforce the loop that made the victory possible. Thought, action, result, reward. This reinforcement makes the new default stronger and more likely to repeat. Finally, build identity through repetition. Identity is not declared, it's discovered through repeated action. You don't say, I am disciplined, and become disciplined. You do discipline repeatedly, and over time, your mind labels you as disciplined. Choose the mental labels you want to inhabit and design acts that prove them true daily. That's how the statement, what we think we become, stops being a slogan and starts being your life. Before you close this video, make a compact 5-step plan you can use this week. Pick the one core thought, choose a cue, define a micro-action, pick a reward, and name an accountability partner. Do it now. Write it, record it, announce it, then execute. You have all the tools. You now know how to tend the workshop of your subconscious, how to dismantle limiting beliefs, how to architect a winner's mind, and how to build a system that turns thought into identity. This is not some self-help fantasy. It's applied practice. It's method. And if you show up consistently, curiously, and courageously, the compound interest of your chosen thoughts will build a life you recognize as the one you intended. If this landed for you, commit to one small action in the next hour that proves the thought you want to become true. Do it. Show up for yourself. If you found this helpful, subscribe and hit like. It helps more people find this video.